DUI Guide Chapter 7, how can I get my driver's license back when I'm charged with a DUI? Now, one of the most important issues that clients face when convicted of a DUI is, how can you get your driver's license back? How can you get driving again so you can get your life back to some normalcy? And to understand how to get driving again, you first need to understand the driving prohibitions that you're going to face. Now, you're going to face an automatic driving prohibition from the federal government. And the Criminal Code of Canada is federal law. And under the Criminal Code, you're going to face automatic driving prohibition. So if you have a first-time DUI conviction, the minimum driving prohibition is 12 months. For a second conviction, the minimum prohibition is 24 months. And for a third conviction, the minimum driving prohibition is 36 months. And you're also going to be facing an automatic driving suspension from the provincial government. And that brings up something called Back on Track. What is the Back on Track program? Now, when you're convicted of a DUI, the Ontario government requires that you complete something called the Back on Track program. And this is a remedial program to teach you the myths and the facts about alcohol and drugs in the context of operating a vehicle. The goal of the program is simple. They want to prevent you from committing DUI crimes in the future. And if you don't complete the Back on Track, you're not going to be able to get your license back. Now, after you've completed your mandatory driving prohibition, both from the federal government and provincial government perspective, brings up the question, how do I get my license back now? Well, if you've completed those mandatory programs and your mandatory periods where you weren't allowed to drive, you then need to go to the Ontario Ministry of Transportation and apply to get your license back. And the Ontario Ministry of Transportation will confirm that you've completed Back on Track, and you pay a fee and you will get your license back. Brings up a question. If you're charged with a DUI but you've not yet gone to trial, can you get your license back before trial? And the answer is yes. 90 days from the date that you were charged with the DUI, you can go to the Ministry of Transportation of Ontario and pay the license reinstatement fee. Now, assuming you don't have any other restrictions on your driver's license, then you can get your license back. And you're going to be able to drive until the conclusion of your trial. If you win at trial, you're going to keep driving. However, if you lose, you're going to have to surrender your license to the court for the time period that is determined by the judge. Now, if you've been offered to drive again under the Ontario Ignition Interlock program, we hear clients ask us all the time, should I do it? Should I accept the rules and accept the Ontario Ignition Interlock program opportunity? And the short answer is most likely no. And here's the longer answer. In Ontario, if you plead guilty to a DUI, you may be able to participate in the Ontario Ignition Interlock program. These conditions to be eligible include that this must be your first DUI conviction, there must be no drugs involved, if there was an accident, there can be no injuries or deaths, and you must enter a guilty plea within 90 days of being charged. And if you meet these conditions, you can start to drive again after 90 days with an interlock device installed in your vehicle. Now, the advantage of doing this, of agreeing to this Ontario Ignition Interlock program, is that you're going to be able to drive again with this interlock device 90 days after you plead guilty. So you will save 9 months of a driving prohibition. But there are huge disadvantages. And the disadvantages is that you've entered in a guilty plea, which means you're going to get a criminal record. And with a DUI conviction on your driving record, you're going to be subject to significant insurance rate increases, as well as all the huge problems of having a criminal conviction on your record. And in contrast, if you fight the DUI charges and you win, you're going to walk away as if you never have been charged before, and all the evidence against you gets destroyed. So bottom line, there's really not a lot of benefit to participating in the Ontario Ignition Interlock program. You're likely better off fighting the DUI charges.